Hey, what's up, YouTube? Good evening. It's your boy Kai Alston, once here again. So tonight on Mr. Y'all Fix My Life, this is a very, very sad case of a group of young African American people in their 20s that were all abused sexually by one another. And frankly, that has to be very devastating and scary. To have to get up in the morning and face one another after last night or so, you all abused sexually by one another and forced to do it by your own elders in your lives. See, this is an example why, most millennials today are very, distrusting and most of all, out of order in our lives. Because the elders before us, to some degree or another, failed us. They failed us. Because they were abused themselves. Most of them were on drugs themselves. Most of them were crackheads, holes and thoughts, They failed us. They failed us. And I really admire how the eldest child, the black girl, I forgot her name, she said, "My mom is the root of all this." Those were her exact words. "My mom is the root of all this." And you know what? She's right. She's absolutely right. We live in a culture now where somehow, some way, moms, black moms, not all, don't attack me, but some black mom in particular can be called out on their shit. Dad ain't shit. Dad's wrong. He did so and so, but mama is God. She can't be called out on anything. All those kids are suffering because of a choice she made. One guy, I forgot his name, today he has epilepsy because in childhood he was hit with baseball bats, golf clubs, left in the closet for days with bread and water. That's fucking ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is embarrassing to our race. And one thing I've noticed in the segment that all the boys were violent towards one another. One of the boys were arrested for several times for violent crimes. That's accurate. That makes sense. That makes sense. All boys that were in prison, all boys who were violent, all boys who commit violence in school, what's the commonality? They're raised in a house with no father at home. They're raised in a house with a violent mother. Not all, but most. And we live in a culture now where dysfunction is now called a strength. For example, one boy said he was hit with a crock pot. A crock pot. Do you have any idea how big a crock pot is? A crock pot is between 5 to 10 pounds. That was thrown at him in childhood. Yes. We live in a culture now where mothers today can be called out on anything. For example, I was on YouTube the other day. I saw a documentary on Judge Judy. This was in 1993, before she became a judge, and she had oh God, what is this? She had she was giving an example of how some moms take the money given to them by the state and buy houses. Check it out.
Well, that was a foster mother who was a grandmother who had 6 children, 6 grandchildren with her, and the children were ultimately removed from her because they found the children living in abysmal conditions. This lady had been receiving $3,000 a month from the city
the grandmother.
the city to take care of the grandchildren. And when I asked her, "What were you doing with the money?" her response to me was, "I bought a house in Puerto Rico."
Yeah. Now that was back in 1993. 019 and beyond, it's much worse. It's much worse. I remember last year I was working at a place called Sheltering Arms in New York City in the Bronx. That's a foster care. I was a caseworker there. And every child that came before me, not 1 or 2, I could say 9 out of 10, every child that came before me was abused emotionally, sexually, by mom's boyfriend, mom herself, or one another. 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. They'd be sexually by mom's boyfriend, mom herself, or one another. 9 times out of 10. These children today are not protected at all. Because we live in a culture now where motherhood is now called misogyny, and it's not. And I'm going to say this as a sidebar, because I'm a PhD, so me saying it holds no weight. But in my lifetime, even me, I'm a counselor myself, I've spoken to several PhDs on this matter, and all agree with me. No one's born gay. No one is born gay. Most homosexuals, male and female, endured abuse in childhood. That is fact. I'll say it again. Most homosexuals were abused sexually in childhood. No one is born gay. There is a cover-up to hide the abuse that he or she endured sexually as young children. Now, am I homophobic? Of course not. No. Am I gay? No. But there's evidence to prove that people are born that way. It's not. There is a hoax / myth. It's not. Anyway, I'm Kyle Austin. Let me in the comments, any feedback. Press like, click subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe.